How do you figure out whether a franchise is a good opportunity or not? I mean, how does a person, maybe they've never done it before, so what tools do they bring to figure it out?
As I mentioned, it can certainly be overwhelming. So they're working with a good franchise consultant, certainly.
Do you happen to know one?
I do. It certainly helps. Common mistakes that people make is that they don't do a thorough investigation. Maybe they don't read the franchise disclosure document, which is a legal document. Maybe they don't talk to franchisees or ask them the right questions. Sometimes people fall in love with a business and they don't hardly do any investigation. I call that franchise infatuation.
Okay. See, that sounds like something else. So there are some advantages and I would imagine one of the things would be a little bit of restriction too, right? Because if you were really, like you said before, if you were really a maverick, there is a little bit of a restriction on you, and so that might be a disadvantage of.
Absolutely, you have to be able to work within that system. So if you're a McDonald's franchisee, you can't put hot dogs on the
menu. How are they getting financed these days? How are franchises being financed? Is it hard in this era to?
It certainly is harder than what it used to be, but you can't just listen to all the news and say it's impossible. People are still getting businesses financed. Some are using SBA loans. There are a few who are still doing home equity. There are people who are relying on friends and family. And most people that I work with are using retirement funds. They're rolling over a 401k or an IRA because most of the time they can do that without penalty, and usually there are some nice tax advantages to that.
And then at some point, I think we discussed this off camera, that a person can take it as sort of an investment and sell it at another point. So it isn't like, I mean, it's kind of scary to think of giving up your retirement savings, right? But you're going to get it back. The idea is you'd sell it for, now, is that the case? Or?
You hopefully would sell it for a tidy sum. And certainly people want to learn about that option of using retirement funds, and there are companies that specialize in that, and I'm happy to refer people to that. But with a franchise, you're growing a business so that you're taking owner benefit out of the business or income out of the business, and at some point in time down the road, it's going to be time to sell it. And then you should be able to sell it for a nice amount. So unlike a job where you might be getting a given paycheck, you can never sell a job. So you might also think of an analogy with a home.
That's what I was thinking, home versus renting, owning versus renting, right?
Exactly. You buy a home, you fix it up, you put some sweat equity into it, you let it appreciate a little bit, and then you sell it. The whole time that you've lived in it, you've enjoyed it, and you can hopefully sell it for a nice gain.
Now, does the person who's selling it at a certain point have to time the market a little bit? Like, is it like a home? And to carry the analogy further, that you'd have to figure out when's a good time to sell and maybe bring in a financial expert to help you, or?
Again, part of what I do in working with people is to find out what their goals. So sometimes a person wants to grow the business to retirement and then they want to sell it, so they know what that time frame is. Sometimes they want to grow a business and then hand it off to their children, or they want to gradually bring them in, so there's that transition. So it might go from the parents to one or more of the children. So again, it's what's right for that individual. I think it's helpful to have a goal in mind to say, I would like to do this for example, 7 to 10 years is on average how long people keep a business.
That's the length?
Yes.
Okay.
But certainly some people keep a business for 20 years and pass it down to their family. But on average, many times then people are ready for something else.
Are some a little riskier than others? Are they?
Certainly there are some. Anytime that you have a newer business, there's a little added risk. Many times franchise companies, to compensate for that, will have a lower franchise fee, or they might award a larger territory. Again, they want to make sure that you're going to be successful. So if they know that a certain population in their trial and error that works, they might just expand that just to make certain.
Now, you've touched on this, but can you talk a little bit about how much money a person can make? I mean, does it depend on the size of the franchise, or give us some indication of the gain,
well,
the financial?
How hard are you willing to work, Steve?
Oh, you're recruiting me.
Actually, the best answer for that is it depends. It depends on how you run the business, and there's many things that come into play. One thing I should say is that the amount that you invest in business, there's no direct correlation to the amount of money that you can make. So for people that are looking at a lower investment franchise, they still have a very good opportunity to make a very nice income and an excellent return on their investment. Mm-hmm. So I think that's important to keep in mind.
Okay. How about some mistakes people make in investigating a franchise? And should they bring in, get some advice from some outside people? Maybe it might be an additional question.
Certainly it helps to have a franchise attorney review documents if they'd like, to have an accountant involved, again, if they would like. But I recommend that they do their own investigation, because they know what's important to them and what they're looking for. There are what we call ambushes, and an ambush might come from, Uncle Bob, and Uncle Bob doesn't know anything about the business.
You know my family, huh? Okay.
He doesn't know anything about the business that you're investigating, but he knows that someone sometime didn't do well, and he is so concerned. And so the way Uncle Bob can best help is to help you come up with questions of what to ask so that you're doing a thorough investigation and due diligence.
Now, what is your role in this? I mean, just getting back to being a consultant or helping people in this, are you representing both sides? I mean, are you trying to help the people that are thinking about a franchise, oh, now watch out for this and that, and then also representing the companies? Are you sort of in the middle trying to do a little bit of both?
Absolutely. So when I'm working with candidates, I'll say be sure to ask these types of questions so that you can get the information. And if you hear certain answers, that's a yellow flag. You might want to look at litigation. If there's a lot of litigation, that could be a yellow flag. And sometimes people have their blinders on and they just say, oh, this company has a great brand. Well, it might have a great brand, but that doesn't guarantee that it's going to be a great business for you and your skills.
We have about 30 seconds left, and so I wanted just to ask you about the growth, the future growth of franchising. Is it on the upswing?
Absolutely. Since the early 60s, franchising has been booming. There are now over 3,000 franchise companies in 75 different industries, and it's a very successful business model.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. We've shown your contact information several times, so if people have questions, they can contact you, right?
Terrific. Thank you.
Yep. And thank you for watching You're Hired. If you have any input for us about this show, suggestions for future shows, or questions about jobs and careers, feel free to email me. It's steve@bayareacareercoach.com. Again, it's steve@bayareacareercoach.com. And do check out the website. You'll find the 12 keys to getting a great job. You can sign up for my free career newsletter. I have the contact information of everybody who's ever been on the show, so they can feel free to contact you. We didn't mention your company, did we? The name of the company
is Fran Choice.
Fran Choice. And the website is franchoice.com. Okay. So you can contact her. You can also find out about the career coaching I do. The website, again, is www.bayareacareercoach.com. Again, www.bayareacareercoach.com. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time on You're Hired. And you're already hired.
All right.
That's fantastic. It's really nice that it's on the upswing, because so many things are not. And you think it's going to go for, 10, 15 more years? Or it's continue to go forward in that?
Absolutely. I think it's much more difficult to compete as an individual franchise. You don't have the advertising, you have the marketing support, all of those types of things.
Yeah, well, that's good. It's always good to end the show on a positive note.